Hey there, friends. It's the last day of March, and you know what that means. I have begun a process of every single month taking the Gun Violence Archives numbers and putting truth to them. This is the standard, the gold standard that all of the CNNs, NBCs, the White House, politicians use in order to stoke fear for gun control. They talk about mass shootings. We have double-digit numbers of mass shootings every single month, according to the Gun Violence Archive. I have taken it upon myself to break them down every month to show you that the only ones you need to worry about is one or two. There was one in January and 0 in February. We'll see how March plays out. However, this being the last day of March, I can tell you one that will be included in that number of mass shootings, but I'll also tell you why we don't need to worry about it, because it's not a threat to us. At least 7 children aged 12 to 17 were wounded in a shooting in downtown Indianapolis last night. Sounds crazy. Sounds terrible. Oh my God, they're targeting our children. There's a mass shooter targeting our children. We're all at risk. Not so fast. Gang activity. At least 7 children between the ages of 12 and 17. I laugh because these headlines are stupid. It's actually very sad that these young people are being shot. They are not children. A 17-year-old is considered a man legally, but nevertheless, there are young people involved, and I do hate that. 7 children between the ages of 12 and 17 were wounded in a shooting Saturday night in downtown Indianapolis where a large group was gathered. Notice they don't say mass shooting in this story. I'm shocked at that. I'm wondering if we're getting through to them, because this was a perfect opportunity to talk about a mass shooting, and they don't. Remember, they redefined a mass shooting and claimed that it's 4 or more people shot or injured, not killed. Officers were on patrol when they heard several shots actively being fired near the Circle Center Mall around 11:30 p.m. local time. That's your first hint right there that we would not have been involved in it, right? First of all, it's at a mall. This is after closing hours, right? 11:30 p.m. Malls usually and typically close at 10 p.m. So this mall was more than likely, and I can almost guarantee you, closed. Young people hanging out in the parking lot. Guess what? 11:30 p.m. You're not going to catch me hanging out in a parking lot at 11:30 p.m. So even if this were a true sociopath mass shooter, I wouldn't have been shot. Police rushed to the scene to find a large group of juveniles, including 6 with gunshot wounds. All the wounded children were taken to local hospitals, and a 7th arrived later at an area hospital. It's unclear what led to the shooting or how many people opened fire. No suspects were in custody as of Sunday morning. Police believe multiple firearms were involved and are investigating the scene. It's extremely concerning to us that so many of our young people have been victims of gun violence this evening. Notice how they don't say anything about how disturbing it is that young people have firearms out and are shooting at each other at 11:30. They're trying to make it sound like all of these, quote, children are victims, whenever these people who were shot were part of the people shooting at each other. But they want, because it sells headlines and gets memberships for these anti-gun groups, they're going to sit here and make it sound like everyone here was a victim. My guess is it's more likely that everyone that they gathered up was a shooter. And they're just really bad shots, and they randomly shot a whole bunch of people while trying to shoot at each other. This all while Chicago right now is trying to sue Glock because of Glock switches. I think there's a bunch of attorneys general that have gotten together, including the crazy one, the Islamic extremist AG from Minnesota. He's jumped in on this Glock lawsuit. Now, they're suing Glock not because of anything other than the fact that people are illegally modifying Glocks. That's right. There's nothing for them to sue Glock for other than the fact that they're saying it's easy for people to modify their guns illegally. Think about that. They're saying that we have no other reason to sue this gun manufacturer other than the fact that people are illegally modifying them. Really? So I could go take my pickup truck and put oversized tires on it, and that would make it an illegal pickup truck, right? I mean, they have laws that your tires can't extend past the fender by so far, probably not at all. I know most people probably have theirs extend a little bit, But if you extend it too far, that's illegal according to them. You can be ticketed for that. So if I were to think that I could go ahead and do that, in other words, this is more of like a thought police thing. If I can modify my truck, like if you can modify a Glock illegally, so if the opportunity exists to illegally modify it, now it's okay to sue the manufacturer. So I could sue Ford, right? Because I can do that. I can modify my truck. I can put a Glock switch on a Glock. That doesn't make Glock guilty any more than it makes Ford guilty. These people are on a massive fishing expedition, and it's just another flagrant misuse of taxpayer money. These people have nothing better. This pretty much shows you that they're planning to run for future office somewhere, because this is a feather in their hat. They know they're going to lose. Glock's not going to pay anything in this. Glock will likely fight this. They picked on the wrong company. Glock has plenty of money. Glock's attorneys will fight this and win. It makes no sense for them to do this other than window dressing. They're trying to send a message to the other companies to bully them and intimidate them and say, we're coming for you next. So that's what this is all about. You go for the king on the hill and you try to scare the other ones away. I hope nobody is scared away by this, because again, I know they have a bottomless pit of money at a bunch of these states. Obviously, they really don't, but they're going to act like they do, and they're going to throw tons of taxpayer money at this. So this is their attempt to continue to do this, to use taxpayer money to try to implement gun control whenever there's clearly not even an ounce, a smidgen of a reason in order to do this. And the reason why I bring this up in this video is because if we look at what happened in Indianapolis with the 7 people being shot, where's that outrage? Where's the lawsuit about these youngsters getting these guns? Where's the effort? Why don't you throw money at some kind of task force to try to track down where these youngsters are stealing their guns from? Why don't you try that? Why don't you try to stop shutting down mom and pops that you can trace a gun back to, because that does not indicate guilt in any kind of way? Why don't you instead find out who sold the guns to these young people who are shooting each other in the streets, or find out where they stole them from? Because these were not legal transactions that took place in order for them to get these guns. According to laws, these young people, 12 years old, cannot legally purchase a handgun. And that's what's taking place on these streets. They're shooting each other and shooting at each other with these handguns on a nightly basis. But we're going to sue Glock instead. We're going to go down that rabbit hole where we know nothing will be produced as a result of that. Meanwhile, they ignore the children, according to them, 12 to 17, being shot night after night after night. You tell me where these guys really focus their efforts at. It ain't on saving people.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.